If someone told you there's a luxury crossover out there that costs less to maintain per year than a Toyota Camry, you'd probably call them a liar. I get it. I would have said the same thing 10 years ago before I started keeping track of what actually breaks on these things in my shop. 3 Japanese luxury crossovers basically run for free compared to anything German, and the used prices right now are almost insulting. What nobody knew back when these things were sitting on dealer lots is that the maintenance gap between Japanese and German luxury would get wider every single year. BMW X5 runs over $1,100 a year in repairs, and a Porsche Cayenne over $1,200. The 3 vehicles I'm about to show you sit between $500 to $770 a year. I've got the receipts, I've got the shop stories, and I've got some opinions that are going to make the Lexus fan club mad at me. Number 1, the Acura MDX. Now, I already know some of you just rolled your eyes because I didn't start with a Lexus. Hear me out. I personally think the Acura MDX is a better buy than the Lexus RX for any senior on a budget, and I will die on that hill. On the used market, the MDX drops in value about 14% faster than the RX over 5 years. On a vehicle that cost $50,000 new, that means you're picking up the same age Acura for roughly $8,000 to $10,000 less than a Lexus the same age. And what did you sacrifice for that discount? Nothing. You actually gained a 3rd row of seats, more cargo space, and a Honda V6 engine that has been running in Odyssey minivans, Pilot crossovers, and Accord sedans for over 2 decades. I had a customer come in last year with a 2011 MDX at 182,000 miles. Original engine, original transmission. He needed a water pump and some brake pads. That was it. That is not unusual for these things. Over on the Acura forums, there is an entire thread dedicated to owners checking in with over 200,000 miles. One guy has a 2007 at 300,000 miles. Another has a 2001 that was used as an airport shuttle taxi and racked up 946,000 miles before it was retired. The engine under the hood is the Honda J35, a 3.5-liter V6, and it is one of the most bulletproof engines you can buy. But here is the one bill you need to plan for. The J35 uses a timing belt, not a chain. That belt needs replacing at 105,000 miles. At the Acura dealer, you can expect around $2,300. At an independent Honda specialist using Aisin parts, it can be done for about $1,200. Plan for a $1,300 service every 100,000 miles, and the MDX is basically free to run after that. Now, which years should a senior actually buy? The 2011 through 2013 MDX with the 6-speed automatic is the bulletproof generation. Just watch out for the oil consumption issue on those. The engine shuts down half its cylinders on the highway to save gas, and over time that causes it to burn through oil faster than it should. There was actually a class action lawsuit over it. A $79 aftermarket plug called the VCM muzzler fixes it permanently. If you want something newer, the 2015 MDX is the Goldilocks year because it's the last model with that reliable 6-speed automatic before Acura switched to the ZF 9-speed in 2016. And I'll be blunt about the 2016 and 2017 models. Skip them. That early 9-speed transmission was jerky, confused, and I personally saw one fail completely at 68,000 miles. By 2019 and 2020, the transmission had been reflashed enough times to behave itself, and Acura also made their full safety suite standard across every trim. So your buying windows are 2011 through 2013, 2015, or 2019 through 2020. The one senior-specific warning I have to give is the infotainment system on the 2014 through 2020 MDX. It uses 2 separate screens. one up top that you control with a knob, and one down below that is a touchscreen. I watched a 70-year-old customer in my shop try to change a radio station on one of these for about 4 minutes before he gave up. If the person you are buying for gets frustrated with technology, the older 2011 through 2013 dash layout is actually simpler and easier to deal with. But here is the detail that everyone misses when shopping these. The MDX averages about $570 a year in maintenance, according to RepairPal. Number 2, the Lexus GX 460. That puts it at number 2 in the entire luxury crossover class. Used 2018 through 2020 models are going for between $16,000 and $30,000 right now. That is luxury for the price of a loaded Camry. And the next vehicle on this list makes the MDX look like a budget option, even though it might be the single most durable luxury vehicle ever sold in America. Alright, so here is where things get interesting. The GX 460 is not really a Lexus. I mean, it says Lexus on the badge, and you get the Lexus dealer experience, and the leather seats, and the nice stereo. But underneath all of that, this is a Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. It has body-on-frame construction, a solid rear axle, and a 4.6-liter V8 with a timing chain that was designed to outlast the truck itself. A study found that the GX 460 has an 18% chance of reaching 250,000 miles. The average for all vehicles in America is 4.8%. So the GX is nearly 4 times more likely to hit 250,000 miles than anything else on the road. On the Land Cruiser forums, which is where GX owners tend to hang out because they know what their truck really is, I've seen guys posting at 300,000 miles calling their GX barely broken in. One 2012 was sitting at 320,000 miles with no major repairs. I mean, think about that for a second. For seniors specifically, the GX does something that car-based crossovers like the RX and MDX can't do. Because it sits on a real truck frame, the seat position is higher. Getting in and out is more like stepping into the vehicle instead of lowering yourself down into it. If you've got bad knees or hip issues, that entry height matters more than any other feature on the spec sheet. I have seen this make or break a purchase decision in the dealership parking lot. The dashboard is another huge win for older drivers. While Lexus went crazy with touchpads and swipe controls on their newer models, the GX 460 kept real buttons and physical knobs for the climate control and audio system all the way through 2023. You can change the temperature without looking at the screen. You can turn up the volume without swiping. That sounds like a small thing until you watch someone's 75-year-old parent try to use the Lexus touchpad while driving. Now, the GX is not cheap to fuel. This thing gets about 15 to 17 miles per gallon on premium gasoline. At current fuel prices, you are spending roughly $1,200 more per year at the pump compared to a Lexus RX running on regular gas. That is the real cost of the GX, and it's the reason I don't recommend it for every senior. If you're driving a lot on a fixed income, that fuel bill adds up. The things to watch for when buying used are specific to the model year. The 2010 through 2013 GX had a secondary air injection pump that liked to fail. That is a $2,000 to $2,500 repair at the Lexus dealer. Buy a 2014 or newer, and Toyota had already redesigned the part to fix it. Almost every GX will eventually develop a valley plate coolant leak somewhere around the 100,000 mile mark. The dealer charges $1,500 to $3,500 for that job. The actual part is about $110. If you have a good independent Toyota mechanic, which every GX owner should have, this is a manageable repair. Your sweet spot for a senior is a 2017 through 2019 GX 460. That is the range where Lexus Safety System Plus came standard, giving you adaptive cruise control, pre-collision braking, and lane departure warning at no extra cost. Used pricing right now is between $25,000 and $45,000, depending on mileage and trim. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you already know I did a video breaking down why the Land Cruiser platform is nearly indestructible. The GX is that same platform with better seats and a quieter cabin. Alright, so the last vehicle on this list is the one I get asked about the most in the comments. And yeah, it deserves to be here. But it also has two specific problems that I think people are way too quiet about. Number 3. The Lexus RX 350. The RX is the one everyone recommends for a reason, and I'm not going to argue with the data. RepairPal puts it at about $550 a year in maintenance, which is third cheapest in the entire luxury crossover class. Over 10 years of ownership, total maintenance runs about $7,800. That is roughly half what a BMW X5 costs over the same period, and less than you'd spend maintaining a Honda Accord. A luxury crossover that costs less to maintain than an Accord. I still shake my head at that. The 3.5-liter V6 in the RX uses a timing chain instead of a belt, so you never have to worry about that big belt service the Acura MDX requires. The spark plugs are iridium, so you're not even thinking about touching those until at least 120,000 miles. On the Lexus owner forums, guys are reporting original plugs lasting 150,000 miles with no misfires. And the RX runs on regular 87-octane gasoline, not premium, which saves you about $400 a year compared to the GX at the pump. So far, this sounds like the perfect vehicle for a senior. It nearly is. But I said there were two problems, and they're coming up. For seniors, I would point you straight at the 4th generation RX, the 2017 through 2020 models. Lexus made their full safety suite standard starting in 2017. Then in 2019, they added Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which makes hooking up your phone a lot easier for anyone who just wants navigation without fighting the built-in system. The 2020 refresh quietly moved the touchscreen 5.5 inches closer to the driver. That sounds like a tiny change, but for any senior with shoulder stiffness or limited arm reach, not having to lean forward to tap the screen makes a huge difference. But I need to talk about the two problems on this generation RX that I think are getting buried. The first one actually involves spiders. I'm serious. There is a known issue on 2016 through 2020 RX models where small spiders build nests inside the air conditioning drain lines. That blocks the water from draining out properly and eventually kills the air conditioning compressor. The dealer repair bill for this is around $8,000, and Lexus has been refusing to cover it under warranty because they say it is not their fault. The fix is a $19 part called an Aeronix tip that the dealer can install before it becomes a problem. If you are buying a used RX from this generation, ask the dealer or seller if this fix has been done. If they stare at you blankly, walk away and find one that has it handled. The second issue affects older RX models. If anyone tries to sell you a 2007 through 2009 RX 350, check the dashboard. Lexus had a widespread problem where the dashboard material broke down over time and turned into a sticky, reflective, gooey mess. It created glare problems in sunlight, and some owners reported it actually made them feel sick from the fumes. Lexus ran a warranty extension program to replace those dashboards, but that program officially closed. If the dash has not been replaced, do not buy that vehicle. For a clean 2017 through 2020 RX 350, you are looking at between $23,000 and $31,000 on the used market right now. That is real luxury with Lexus dealer service and a maintenance budget that would make a BMW owner cry. And that brings up the real point of this whole video, the thing I wish more people would focus on. The gap between Japanese and German luxury is not really about the average maintenance cost. It's about predictability. When you own a Lexus RX or an Acura MDX, you can look at the next 10 years and know, within a few $100s, what it's going to cost you. With a BMW X5 or a Mercedes GLE, the average might look manageable on paper, but one bad timing chain or one air suspension failure wipes out years of savings in a single shop visit. For any senior on a fixed income, that kind of surprise bill is the difference between keeping the car and being forced to sell it. The real question to ask isn't which luxury crossover is cheapest, it's which one will never surprise you. And these 3 Japanese vehicles are the answer. Now, if you want to save even more money, I made a video about why smart drivers are specifically hunting for 20-year-old Japanese cars and the pre-screen loophole they use before buying. That single trick has saved people I know thousands of dollars on vehicles that still had years of life left in them. Go watch that one next.